All right. Good morning, students. I hope you are able to hear me. Yes. So, what we had to discuss today is we need to discuss different methods of finding the order of the reaction, and then we'll proceed towards finding the effect of temperature on the rate of the reaction. Right. So, some of those methods of finding the order of the reaction we have already done. So, let me take you to the two methods we are going to discuss to find the order. So the both methods are experimental methods. One of them is using rate law. How do you find the order of this reaction using rate law? You can try this question. Actually, we have already discussed this question before also. Please try this question. What would be the order of this reaction? You can try it. What would be the order of this reaction? You can write the general rate law as Ka to the power alpha and B to the power beta. Right? Then you can make few equations. Then you can make few equations. Yes. So what is the order you are getting? What is the order you are getting, guys? With respect to overall order, you are getting 0. Is it? Very good. So let us discuss this also. What are the equations you can be making here, right? So the two equations you'll be making here are, or three in fact rather. So when your rate is 2, your A concentration is 0.5. So you'll write 2 is equals to 0.5 power alpha. And B concentration is 0.5 again, 0.5 power beta. So when you substitute these values in this expression, you'll get this equation. Then you can substitute the second values. Rate is 2. A concentration is 1 power alpha, 1 power beta. Then you can put the rate value as 1. If you put the rate value as 1, you'll get 1 power alpha, 0.5 power beta. Correct? Now this is your first equation, second equation, and third equation. Now you can divide the first equation by 2. What do you get in this case? If you divide these two equations, you'll get 1 is equals to. When you divide these two equations, you'll get 1 is equals to 0.5. We should rather divide actually first these two. And then we should divide. Yeah. Don't divide 1 and 2. You divide 1 by 3. You rather divide 1 by 3. You divide 1 by 3. So when you divide your equation 1 by equation 3 or 3 by 1, whatever suits you well. So if you divide 1 by 3, you'll get 2 by 1. Let us say 2 equal to 0.5 by 1. 0.5 by 0.5 will get cancelled. So 0.5 by 1 is 1 by 2 power alpha. Correct? You can also write 1 by 2 as 2 power minus 1 power alpha, which can be written as 2 power 1 is equals to 2 power minus alpha. When you compare the powers, you get alpha minus alpha equal to 1. This implies that alpha is equals to minus 1. This implies that alpha is equals to minus 1. Now divide the equation 2 by 3. Now, when you divide these two equations, again 1 alpha will get cancelled. 2 by 1, you'll get 2. Then 1 by 0.5 is again 2. So you'll get 2 power beta. So when you divide second equation by 3, you'll get 2 is equals to 1 by 0.5 power beta. So 1 by 0.5 is nothing but 2 power beta equal to 2 power 1. Now compare the powers. Your beta comes out to be 1. Now total order. Your total order is alpha plus beta. That means -1 plus 1 equal to 0. So your overall order of this reaction is 0 order reaction, but it is first with respect to B, negative order with respect to A. Correct? So I hope it is clear. Right? All right. So any doubt whatsoever in this question, guys? Any doubt whatsoever in this question? Right. So let's move ahead then to the next set of questions. Now the second way of finding the order we have kept over here is using half-life method. So how can you find the order of the reaction using half-life method? One is using graph. Obviously, if graph is given, you can find the order of the reaction, right? For example, let us take, there are two methods in this. Either you'll be given graph, from graph you can find, or you'll be given the data, right? Tarun, my video, you'll not be able to see the video, Tarun. You will not be able to see the video. ठीक है? Right. So what I was saying, yeah. Yeah, video I'm not running the video, guys, because we are running the class on phone, so it's difficult. Right. So I hope it is clear. Let's take the half-life method. So there are two ways of finding the order from half-life. We will remember our general expression of half-life. If you see your general expression of half-life, right? I think I should be having it here in case you want to go through it again. We have derived general expression of half-life. Here. So if you see our half-life method, which we have derived, this was for nth order. So you can see K was constant here. N is also constant in -1. This is also a constant. So you can see T half is inversely proportional to initial concentration power n-1. Initial concentration power n-1. So therefore, I'll use that relation and come back to my method of finding the order. Right. So we'll use the same relation, that is T half is inversely proportional to initial concentration of reactant power n-1. This is the relationship we are going to use. So from using this, I can make two equations. Let us say T half 1 will be proportional to initial concentration 1 power n-1. T half 2, second T half, will be proportional to second initial concentration power n-1. Now when you divide both the equations, what do you get? You get T half 1 by T half 2 is equal to R naught 2 power n-1 divided by R naught 1 power n-1. This is what you'll get. Right? Now, coming to this again, you can rewrite your equation T half 1 by T half 2 R naught you can write R naught 2 by R naught 1 as R naught 2 by R naught 1 whole power n minus 1. Now using if the 2T half is given to you, 2 initial concentration is given to you can find the value of n minus 1. Now mathematically, how do you solve it? You solve it by applying log. So when you apply log on both sides, you'll get log T half 1 by T half 2 is equals to log R naught 2 by R naught 1 power n minus 1. Now log, you can apply the property log a to the power b is b log a. That means this power n minus 1 will come outside. So this is log a to the power b. So this b will come outside, you'll write it as b log a. So what you'll be getting is log T half 1 by T half 2 is equals to n minus 1 log R naught 2 by R naught 1. Right? So if these values are given, you can make two equations and simplify this. Right? This is one method of finding the order of the reaction where your n is order. So if T half is 2 T halves are given, 2 initial concentrations are given, you can find the order. Correct? Now, graphical method is very easy. So you know if the graphs are given, if your order is 0, put the value of n as 0 here. So 0 minus 1 is minus 1. So you'll get R naught power minus 1, which will go up. It is in denominator. It will go to numerator and become R naught power plus 1. So your T half is proportional to initial concentration if it is zero order reaction. So your graph will come like this. For second order reaction, when n is, let's say, first order reaction. So if you put the value of n as 1, 1 minus 1 is 0. So R naught power 0 is 1. So that means it is a constant on the right side. So your T half will become constant. So graph will come like this. Okay? Because R naught power 1 minus 1 is 0. So there will be nothing. R naught power 0 is what? 1. So 1 by 1 is constant. So third graph is when your n is 2, put the value of n as 2. So 2 minus 1 is 1. So you'll get R naught power 1. So you'll get T half is inversely proportional to initial concentration. So this is your plotting T half versus initial concentration. Right. So here you'll get graph like this. Right. So these are the two ways of finding the order of the reaction using half-life method and rate law method. Correct? Any doubt in these two methods, anyone? Please check both the equations. We'll solve a question on this. Please check both the equations. We'll solve a question on this. All right. Any doubt, anyone? Yes, guys. Is there any doubt? All right. Let's move ahead to the question part. This is the data given to you. Explain the third graph. Naren, third graph is easy, beta. Naren, when you put n as 1, n as 2, 2 minus 1 is 1. So your T half will be 1 by R naught. T half will be 1 by R naught. As R naught increases, T half decreases. So as R naught increases, T half decreases. Right? It will be inversely proportional. It will be inversely proportional graph, Naren. Okay? Yeah, this is your first question based on this. These type of questions are very common in chemical kinetics. That data is given to you, find the order of the reaction. If this data is given to you, how would you find the order of the reaction? Yes. You can see the poll on your screen now. You can start answering the poll. Ashu sir, please close the poll in 1.5 minutes. All right. Again, here, as I told you, there are two T halves are given. Initial concentrations are given. You can find the order of the reaction easily. All right. So I think we are good to. Yes. So we'll end this, guys. We'll end this poll. We'll end this poll on a count of 3, 2, 1. Now. Poll was there, Dhanush. I myself saw the poll. There must be some problem with the internet. Yeah. So what we can say here is, again, we had 2 T half and we had 2 initial concentrations. So before jumping into the solution, you apply logic, right? You apply the logic before jumping into the formula. You see here, your T half is decreasing as the concentration of initial concentration increases. Correct? Your T half is decreasing as the initial concentration increases. That means my T half is inversely proportional to initial concentration. Right? Now it can be power 1, it can be power 2 or anything. Right? That means since it is inversely proportional, that means it cannot be zero order because T half means it is directly proportional. It cannot be first order because in first order it is constant. So therefore, I would say in this case, first 2 options are wrong. First 2 options are wrong. It cannot be negative order also. Because if it is negative order, -1, -1, -2, right? -2 will go up and you'll get T half is proportional to R naught square. Again, that is wrong. So either answer is 3 or answer is 2. Because in both these cases, T half will be inversely proportional to, if in both the cases, if you put n equal to 2, T half will be inversely proportional to R naught. Put n equal to 3 here, your T half will be inversely proportional to R naught ka square. So this is what you'll get. So any of these two can be correct. Correct? Now, the thing which you should see here is, you can apply 2 equation and take log and simplify it, of course. So T half, you can write it as in minute. So 2R will be 120 minute. So divide these two, right? So you can make 2 equations. T half 1 what is your T half 1? Your T half 1 is 120 minute. So when your 120 minute is there, what is your initial concentration? 0.1 power n minus 1. Then 30 equal to 1 by 0.2 power n minus 1. Now you divide both the equations, you will get 1 by 20 by 30 is equals to 0.2 by 0.1 power n minus 1. So what do you get here? You get here 4 is equals to 2 power n minus 1, right? 4 you can write it as what? You can write 4, let us write it here. 4 equal to 2 power n minus 1. 4 can be written as 2 power 2 and this is equal to 2 power n minus 1. Base is same, so you can equate the powers. N minus 1 is equals to 2. This implies that n is nothing but 2 plus 1. That means your answer will come out to be 3. You'll get a third order reaction. It's a third order reaction, right? Please check the solution again. If there is any doubt, quickly ask. Vijay Lakshmi, it is not 3 by 2, it is third order reaction. Vivekanand Patil, I hope we understood. Pritesh, I can see your text. So, but I can't reply all of your text together. Right? All right. Yeah, any doubt in this, guys? Please check the solution carefully. There might be some differences in your and my communication today because I'll not be able to see all your messages today. I'll not be able to see your polls today. So you have to bear with that today. I can see the message, but I can't reply all the messages today. I have to change my screen to see your messages. So I can't read all your messages. Because Dhanush, I'm using phone. I'm not using my desktop. Sir, here T half is proportional to R square. Inversely proportional to R square, Priyadarshini. If you put n equal to 3, Priyadarshini, if you put n equal to 3, your T half will be inversely proportional to R naught power n minus 1. So if you put n equal to 3, T half will come out to be R naught power 3 minus 1. That means inversely proportional to R naught square. Is that clear, Priyadarshini? Can we use log and find? It's up to you. You can take log and find also, but if you're solving it easily by this method, why do you need to use log? If you can solve it by easy method, why do you need to use log, right? Now this definition is very important for your boards also. The definition is very important for your boards, CET, and all the exams. Basically, the definition is very important. 2018 CET, there was a question on it, right? What is pseudo meaning? Pseudo means false. So false first order reaction means those reactions which appear to be first order reaction under certain circumstances, but in reality they are not. For example, we say real gas, ideal gas, real gas concept. Real gas can appear as ideal gas, but it will never be actually the ideal gas, right? So similarly, there are certain reactions which appears to be first order reaction under certain experimental conditions, but in reality they are not, right? So this is one of the example here. The pseudo first order reaction, the type of reaction which obey first order rate law, although it has a higher molecularity of the reaction. Matlab, this is a reaction, if you write its rate law, right, you'll get it more than one order. But under experimental condition, it starts behaving as first order reaction. For example, if you take esterification reaction, esters are made up of acids and alcohol. So when you hydrolyze ester, you get acid and alcohol back. How to remember? That's not difficult, guys. You can put H with the CH3O will take H. This will take OH. So you can eliminate CH3COOH. and CH3OH. Acid plus alcohol you'll get. Correct? Now, when you take, let's say you have started your reaction with 0.1 mole of ester, 50 mole of water. Correct? So initially your product is 0. After some time, the reactant remaining here, ester, is 0. That means this was your limiting reagent. Ester was your limiting reagent, right? So you can see from stoichiometry, 1 mole reacts with 1 mole of it, correct? So 0.1 would have reacted with how much of it? 0.1. So water ka how many moles reacted? 0.1. How much is remaining water? 49.9. So now what is the change in concentration of water from 50 to 49.9? So change in concentration of water is very less. So we can say concentration of water is constant. We can say concentration of water is constant. So if water concentration is not changing, will your rate depend upon water concentration? Answer is no. So when you write the rate, you write rate as K, reactant concentration. That means concentration of water and concentration of CH3COCH3. But just now I told you that water concentration will remain constant. So constant into constant will give you a new constant, that is K dash. So K is constant, water concentration is not changing, so that is also constant. So constant into constant gives you another constant K dash. So you can write this whole thing as K dash. Now you can see this reaction is acting as first order with respect to ester, right? So this reaction is acting as first order with respect to reactant when you have taken water in excess. When you have taken water in excess. So if you take water in excess, which you usually do for esterification hydrolysis, so when you take water in excess, this reaction starts behaving as first order reaction, which should have been second order reaction, but it is behaving as first order reaction when water is taken in excess. Correct? Is the definition clear to you? Yes, Ganesh, you can do that. Ganesh, you can do that also. It's completely fine. Yes. Any doubt in this definition, anyone? So the reaction application not clear. What is not clear, Athar? There is no application here. I did not understand the application. Which application are you talking about, Athar? Example. What is not clear in the example, Athar? If it is not in excess, then reaction will be second order. Correct, Gauri. If water is not in excess, then you will consider it to be second order. Athar, when you write Athar, actually it is self-understandable if you have attended the previous classes. Water concentration into ester concentration. Right? Since water concentration is not changing, it is constant. So these two constant, you can write it as a separate constant. That is K dash. Since the concentration of water is not changing. Now in this reaction, what does your order become? Your order become 1 because water concentration is constant. It is not changing much. Correct? Now, yes, Pritish, you are right. So this is only true. Many of you are asking the same question again and again. I'll take it together. So if it is true, only if your water is taken in excess. If water was taken in stoichiometric amounts with ester, then it would not have been true. Correct? But the irony is, during the acidic hydrolysis of any sugar, you take water in excess. Otherwise, hydrolysis will not happen. You take water in excess. Therefore, esterification reaction has been considered to be first order reaction, pseudo first order reaction. Why you take water in excess? Reaction will not happen. Solvent should be present in more amount. Otherwise, your ester bond will not hydrolyze. your ester bond will not hydrolyze. You should have lot of water molecules. You should have lot of water molecules. Right? There's a mechanism for it. I'll not discuss the mechanism. Water attacks and breaks the bond. Right? So therefore, water is required in lot of amount. Water basically is responsible for breaking the bonds of ester. So therefore, water has to be taken in excess amount. Okay? Otherwise, the reaction might not be 100% complete. Correct? All right. Yeah. Any doubt in this? Anyone else? All right. So yeah, there is a homework questions. You can definitely practice them. Subjective plus objective. Now, the important thing is here molecularity is 2. Correct, Kayuri? Assuming it is an elementary reaction, Kayuri, molecularity is 2. We are assuming it is a elementary reaction, right? Now, how do you study the pressure study of the reaction? CET mein it has been started to ask recently. Earlier, it was not asked in CET also, but nowadays it has been started to come up in the exams. So we'll consider this also. What is pressure study? How do you study the pressure in case of kinetics? Correct? So how do we do that? So please pay attention and listen carefully. So what I have to discuss here is, let us say you have been given a table. In generally these type of questions, you get a table. The table given to you is something like this. Right. Now let's say there is a pressure, time, and pressure. P total. So initially, let's say when time is 0 minute, pressure was found to be P naught. When time is T minute, T1 or whatever, you can say pressure was found to be PT. Correct? So I think these two data will be given to you. Right? Now, if you see this carefully, and let us take the reaction as A gas giving you B gas plus C gas. Right? So now when you apply the kinetics, T equal to 0 pe, let us say what is your initial pressure? P naught. So product obviously will be 0, 0. There is no product formed at T equal to 0. After T time, what happens? Some amount of reactant will dissociate. So from P naught, some pressure will dissociate. That is P. Just like moles, you can do it. P naught minus P. Correct? So you can see 1 mole gives you 1 mole. So P will give you how much? P. 1 gives you 1. So P will give you how much? P. So what is the pressure you'll obtain here? PP. Correct? What is total pressure at time T? Total pressure at time T is how much? The sum of all these pressures. That is how much? P naught minus P plus P plus P. That comes out to be P naught plus P. Correct? So this is the pressure you'll get, total pressure at time T. Correct? Now, what is the pressure at time T? It is given in table PT. This data will be given to you in numerical. So PT is equal to P naught plus P. Correct? From here, you can calculate the value of P. That is PT minus P naught. Why I have done that? I have calculated the value of P in terms of PT and P naught, and PT and P naught are given to me in the table. So I have calculated the value of P and P in terms of PT and P naught, right? Shreya K. What's your doubt, beta? Yes. Any doubt in this? Any doubt in this till now? Anyone? Yes. Anyone having any doubt till this point? All right. So let me do the following. Let me continue this derivation. Now I'll write the kinetics of this. correct? So how do you write? So you used to write kinetics as, if it is a first order reaction, we are assuming it to be first order reaction. Usually you'll get first order reaction में ही pressure का example. Log initial concentration by initial concentration by final concentration. So instead of concentration, we are using what? Pressure. So instead of concentration, we can write P initial by P final. And this is for what? This is for reactant. You have to take since you used to take R naught by R final as reactant concentration, therefore Pi by P final is also of reactant only. Correct? So your kinetics becomes 2.303 into log. What is your P initial? P naught. What is your P final of reactant? P naught minus P. So P naught minus P. But P is not given to you in the table. It's an unknown variable. So you will substitute your P in terms of PT and P naught. So what do you get? You get something like this. KT is equals to 2.303 log P naught by P naught minus P is PT minus P naught. PT minus P naught. So what do you get? KT is equals to 2.303 log P naught by. So what do you get on simplification? You'll get 2P naught minus PT. So this is your final expression. So now the question is, sir, shall we remember this as formula? Answer is no. You should not remember this as formula. Why you should not remember this as formula? You should derive it in exam. Why? If it was 2B here, you will get 2B here, right? You'll get 2P here, then you'll get by 2 here, correct? And you get by 2 here means you get by 2, by 2. That means your final expression will have 2P naught. So therefore, do not by heart this expression, just learn how to derive it. For every stoichiometry, different stoichiometry, your answer will be different, right? Please check this case again. If there is any doubt, please ask. This is called intermediate pressure study because we are taking the pressure at some intermediate time. Initial time and final time is obviously infinity. So because first order reaction is completed at infinity only. So we are not considering the infinite case now. Is there any doubt in this, guys? Please ask. Check the both derivations carefully. Pritesh, of course, you can do that. You can find that. If it is at equilibrium given, Pritesh. If it is given at equilibrium, then only Pritesh. Yeah. Guys, please check this out. If there is any doubt, else I'll take the next case. Shreya K, you're raising your hand, beta. If you have any doubt, please post on the chat. Right. So let's move to the infinite pressure study case. So what is the difference in this? There will be one extra pressure value which will be given to you. That's all. Nothing else is the difference. Right? So this is your table, right? What you can do is take another pressure, that is time, infinite time. What will be your pressure? P infinity. What will be your pressure? P infinity. Correct? Now in this case, see carefully how will you approach it, right? So what you do in this case is, what you generally do in this case is the following. Let us say your reaction is like this. B gas. Let us say this is your equation. Your initial pressure is P naught, 0, T infinite, T time pe you'll have P naught minus P. Actually, you'll not have pressure because it is solid. But even if you take gas, it will not matter. Okay? So what you are saying? Yeah. So you get P here, correct? And then at infinite pressure, this will be approximately 0. And this will become how much? Almost P infinity. Correct? Right? Now, assuming this point carefully, right? So you can assume your KT will be given by 2.303 log your initial pressure, right? What will be your initial pressure? Can anybody tell me? What will be your initial pressure? What will be your initial pressure? Can anybody tell me here? We can't even say it is 0. Yeah. Can anybody tell me what is your initial pressure? That is where you have to be careful about. That is where you have to be careful about. Please see this carefully, right? Your P0 pressure may be due to your reactant, may be due to your product also. Now, in this case, you don't know because your reactant is solid. Solid may not exert pressure. May or may not exert pressure. Solid do not exert pressure. So it might happen that initial pressure is due to P0. You never know. Correct? It might be due to P0. You don't know because reactant does not exert pressure. Right? So if initial pressure is P0, final pressure of the system at infinite time, you have a total pressure P infinite. Can you tell me out of this P infinite, in this P infinite, there'll be a pressure of some product also, that is initial pressure, right? Now listen to this logically, carefully, very carefully. So if you see this carefully, right? So what you can say here is your initial pressure, which is given as P0, is not due to reactant. It may be due to some residual product which is present at this time. So at infinite, all your reactant is converted into product. So this is your due to total reactant conversion. So can you tell me what will be the pressure due to conversion of reactant to product? Conversion of reactant to product at infinite time. What pressure is due to conversion of reactant to product at infinite time? P infinity is the total pressure of the system at infinite time. So can you tell me what will be the pressure due to only reactant? Very good. Vani and Chaitna has already answered. It will be actually P infinity is total. From that you subtract the initial pressure of product. And when you subtract the initial pressure of product, then you get the pressure only due to reactant. Initial pressure and total pressure of reactant initially. That means your initial pressure will become P infinity minus P0. Correct? Yes? Now, at time T also, right? See carefully. At time T also, the pressure which you have, see carefully. At time T also, the pressure PT which you have, is due to what? Again, product. So can you tell me what will be the pressure at T time due to reactant? Pressure at time T due to reactant. Pressure at time T due to reactant. Very good, Athar. It will be P infinity minus PT. Is that clear? This is very, very, very good. Many of you, I am actually surprised. Many of you have answered it correctly. So it will be, Ravi Kiran, you need to check again. It will not be PT minus P0. Ravi Kiran. That is the pressure difference of product only. So your pressure, now you can easily say your P infinity is the total pressure of reactant plus product. So when you subtract the product pressure from it, you'll get the pressure only due to reactant. So what we are going in both the cases, guys, is pressure of reactant plus pressure of product is P infinity. The moment I want to find pressure of reactant, I will subtract the pressure of product. I will subtract the pressure of product from P infinity. Correct? So I will write P infinity minus pressure of product is pressure of reactant. So at t equal to 0, time 0, what is the pressure of product? P naught. So what is pressure of reactant? P infinity minus P naught. Whereas at time t, what is the pressure of product? Pt. What is the pressure of reactant? P infinity minus Pt. Is that clear? So you will get this as your final expression, which is if P infinity is given in the question, you can use this expression. If P infinity is given in the question, you can use this expression. Right? I hope it is clear. If there is any doubt in this, please ask quickly. If there is any doubt in this, please ask quickly. Yes. So this is very, very important part. So you need to valid for all stoichiometry. I think so. Yes, it is valid for all the stoichiometry. Why? Because if you take 2 times here, you'll get 2. No, it is not valid for all the stoichiometry. Yeah, it is valid for all the stoichiometry. It will not matter. If you take 2 here, because this data is experimental data, it is valid for all the stoichiometry. If you take 2 here, it will not matter because your total pressure is due to 2 moles only then. PT is experimental pressure for 2 moles only. So it should be valid. Yeah. Any doubt in this, guys? How can examiner give P infinity? Okay. Now many of you are assuming ki how this P infinity is achieved. I have actually done this reaction in lab. So I can basically answer it better. How do you achieve this? This is called kinetics. This is called kinetics of reaction. So how do you achieve P infinity is you heat your reaction for 1 hour, 2 hour at very high temperature. Then you assume if reaction was to be completed, it should have been completed when you're heating it at very high temperature. So that high temperature reaction, you assume reaction will be completed at that temperature, right? Now, Basangada, P infinity is the pressure. I'll repeat in short, Basangada. I cannot explain the whole slide. P infinity, as I said here, is the pressure due to infinite time pe reactant plus product. Since here you take only reactant part, so pressure of reactant will be P infinity is nothing but pressure of reactant plus product. So if you want to find pressure of reactant, it will be P infinity minus pressure of product. So what is the pressure of reactant at T equal to 0? P naught. So T product, sorry. So your pressure of reactant at T equal to 0 will be P infinity minus P naught at T equal to 0. At T equal to T9, pressure of reactant will be P infinity minus pressure of product at time T, that is PT. So that is what we have done. Initial pressure, final pressure of reactant is P infinity minus P naught by P infinity minus PT. Right? I hope it is clear now, Basangala. Now, coming to the question part. This is what is your question will look like. So many of you are asking the question. Of course, Shreya, because the reactant is 0, reactant pressure cannot be there, Shreya. Your reactant is solid. If your reactant is solid, how can reactant have a product pressure? So initial pressure, whatever is given, is this due to product only, which might be present before the reaction. Now, please see this question carefully. The reaction is given to you as this. There are 3 products. Initial pressure is given. PT is the pressure at time T. You have to find which is the correct expression for the first order kinetics. You have to find what is the correct expression for the first order kinetics. Use the same method which I did. This is not infinite pressure case. This is not infinite pressure case because P infinity is not given to you. Only Pi and PT ki terms we have to calculate. Gauri has already done it. Very good, Gauri. Karan, very good. Yes, Monisha. All right. So, guys, I hope you have voted on the poll. Right. Let's end this on a count of 3, 2, 1. Now. All right. So let us solve what is the expression we can get. So our equation is A giving you B plus C plus D. Now point to note here is all of them are gas. If something is solid, you will not consider its pressure. So T equal to 0 time pay pressure is P naught because product will be 0 at that time, right? Now at T equal to T time pay, the pressure will become P naught minus P. Now 1 mole gives you 1 mole, 1 mole, 1 mole. So P will give you P, P, P. So P, P, P. What is P, T? P total at time T? P total at time T is how much? P naught minus P plus all the sum of all this. P plus P plus P. So how much you get? You get P naught plus 2P. Correct? Now your KT is 2.303 by 2.303 by nothing basically. Log initial pressure is P naught by final pressure is P at time T is P naught. Sorry, we need to calculate our P naught minus P is your final pressure. Now you have to substitute P in terms of P naught and PT. So find that from here. So from here 2P will be equal to PT minus P naught and P will be equal to PT minus P naught by 2. So what do you get? You get 2.303 log P naught by P naught minus PT minus P naught by 2. This is the expression you will get. Correct? P2P is PT minus P naught. Correct. There is a minus sign. Fine. Yeah. So what do you get here? 2.303 log P naught. So take the LCM. 2P naught will come in the numerator. Right? So 2P naught is there only in one option. That means your answer is C. 2P naught is there in only one options. In the numerator, answer is C. Now in the denominator, you can solve 2P naught minus PT plus P naught. So you'll get the expression as 2.303 log 2P naught divided by 3P naught minus PT. 3P naught minus PT. I hope it is clear. I hope it is clear. Is there any doubt in this question, guys? Is there any doubt in this question? All right. So this you can take it as homework. The difference in this question and the question we have been discussing is instead of P in P naught and PT, values are given. In fact, instead of P naught and PT, values are given. You can take a screenshot of this and practice it for today. You same process, you'll derive P naught and PT ki form mein relation. You have to write the reaction yourself. You'll derive the relation, then put the values of P naught and PT, you'll get your answer. Correct? Right. I hope this is clear, guys. How to take screenshot from desktop? Don't worry, Athar. I'll upload them in notes also. Don't worry about it. Right. So next thing, I will quickly introduce you the effect of temperature. The Arrhenius equation is our tomorrow's topic. We'll anyways come to it, but one important thing I'll tell you today. So Arrhenius equation helps us to identify the effect of temperature. So see this thing carefully. This is very important. The observation of Ventov was that at every 10 degrees Celsius rise in temperature, you can write 10 degrees Celsius or 10 Kelvin, both are fine, right? With every 10 degrees Celsius rise in temperature, the rate, that means temperature if it is T and it becomes T plus 10, we increase the temperature by 10, right? It was 9, we made it 19, right? 10 say when you increase the temperature, the value of rate of reaction gets doubled. Actually not tripled, it is doubled. With increase in 10 times or with increase in temperature of the reaction by 10 times, then rate of reaction will become double, right? So let us say rate is proportional to rate constant K. We already know that rate is given by concentration of reactant into rate constant. So you know, more is the value of rate constant, more will be the rate of the reaction. So rate can be written as proportional to K. So if K is more means rate is more. So let us say 298 Kelvin pe, your rate constant is KT. When you increase the temperature by 10, it becomes 308 Kelvin, 298 plus 10. 308 Kelvin pe, rate constant is T plus 10. Correct? So when you divide these two equations, KT plus 10 by KT, right? When you take this ratio of the rate constant, K at 10 plus T temperature and K at 10 T temperature, the rate of the reaction becomes almost 2 times. Almost 2 times. It is actually 2.3 something, but you'll say it is approximately 2 times. That means rate of the reaction will become 2 times when you increase the temperature by how much Kelvin? 10 Kelvin. If you increase the rate of the temperature by a multiple of 10, I am generating this formula, 10 times N, then the rate of reaction will become how much? Then the rate of reaction will become how much times? 2 to the power N. Very good, Naren. 2 to the power N. This is very, very important. If you increase the temperature, by N times N multiples of 10, it will become 2 to the power N time. For example, if you are at 10 Kelvin, you went to 30 Kelvin. So 30 Kelvin can be written as 10 plus 2 into 10. So what is the multiple of 10? You have increased it by 2. So then the rate of reaction will become 2 to the power 2. That is 4 times. Right? Is this formula clear to everyone? This is very, very important. If we can't say that, Kayuri, first of all, we need to check that whether reverse is true or not. We need to check that, Shreya. Right. So there is a quick question on it. We'll finish our class with this question. If the temperature, all of you can attempt it now. I hope it is easy for you. If the temperature is increased from 277 degrees Celsius to 317 degrees Celsius, rate of reaction would increase by. Rate of reaction would increase by. This is very easy. right? So this is quite easy. So let's discuss this. We are ending this now. So this is quite easy. So you can write K. Aniruddha, you need to check your answer again. K, it is 2 times. How can it be 2 times, Aniruddha? So if K is 277 degrees Celsius, right? We said if it is increased by 10, that means if it is 287 degrees Celsius, with 10 degrees Celsius increase, it becomes 2 times, correct? But you are increasing it by how much? 317, not 287. So 317 can be written as 277 plus 40. That means 4 into 10. That is K277. So how much is the multiple of n you have increased it with? You have increased it by how much multiple of n? 4. So your answer will become 2 to the power 4 times. That means 16 times. Your answer will be D. Your answer will be D. Right? Let us quickly move towards our today's quiz. This is an important and interesting one. This is a concept recently introduced. If you observe this carefully, I hope I'll come back to the solution if you have doubted anyhow. The concept of this cafeteria was recently in a talk. Like it was the talk of the town or talk of the country. Which event it was introduced in? Which event it was introduced in and why is important. Karthik is almost nearly correct. Yes, Shreyas. It was introduced in Kumbh. It was introduced in Kumbh of 2019. Kumbh Mela of 2019, which was held at Prayagraj. The concept was Kumbh causes lot of pollution or the garbage at the beaches so we can't say at the banks of the river, right? So to avoid that, they use this small concepts, like they kept movable dustbins, they kept the cafeterias where the toilets were there, so the people are interested in staying clean, right? So that is why they did it. So Pritesh, they had kept everything in the form of toilets so that people can see the toilets and do not pee wherever they want, right? That's why, to avoid sanitation, to provide sanitation. All right, that's all. If there is any doubt, guys, you can quickly ask. There is a 1 minute time we have. We can discuss it in 1 minute. Yeah, cartoon today was easily understandable. We'll discuss it tomorrow also. No, Danush, I'm not. That's all for today. Kishore, last problem, beta, it is very easy problem. Kishore, can you tell me what is your doubt? Kishore, I simply gave you the formula. If you increase the temperature by 10 Kelvin, it becomes 2 times. If you increase the temperature by 10 times n, then it becomes 2 to the power n. So we increase the temperature from 277 to 317. I can write 317 as 277 plus 10 into 4. So how much multiple of 10 I have increased it with? 4. So my rate will become 2 to the power n. That means 2 to the power 4. How much? 16 times. Right? Is that clear? I'll give it Gokul. How ratio will be 2? It's an experimental value, Basangoda. It is an experimental value. When you divided the rate constant, it came out to be approximately 2. It was done using an experimental. How it can be 2 is how ratio will be 2 is a very weird question you can ask. But it is an experimental determined value. We can't, it's the equilibrium constant, right? We can't find equilibrium constant theoretically. It is calculated experimentally only. Of course, Adesh, if the reaction is changing, then it will also change with time. Screenshot Gokul. I'll show it for some seconds. Please take it fast. It is approximately 2 point something, 2.2, 2.3. Shreyas. Nearby value. So we roughly take it as 2. I hope it is taken, Gokul. Chalo. That's all for today, guys. Thank you all of you for joining in and waiting patiently for beginning few minutes. Thank you all. Temp, once again, second pressure derivation. Yes, Naren, you do the following. You go through the video again, Naren. If you don't understand, you message me. Right now, I'm moving to my next class. So, Naren, you can contact me after seeing the video again. I have explained it already 2 to 3 times. You will definitely understand it after watching the video. Okay? Naren, get back to me after seeing the video again. I got another class, so I'll be ending this. Okay? No, these derivations are not asked in boards. CET mein they can be, but not in boards. Chalo. All right, Naren. Please message me after you watch the videos. I'll clarify. Okay? Okay. Take care, all of you.